I have been in Iran 3 times since the last presidential election last June, and I spent 6 months over the last 2 years in Iran looking into the domestic situation. The fact is that generally speaking, Iranians are very unhappy with this regime, and particularly for 2 reasons: mismanagement of the economy and for the lack of attention to their personal freedom. And I have to say also that Iranians know 3 political situations: dictatorship, revolution, and what I call chaotic democracy. It seems to me that at this stage, Iran is entering into the stage of dictatorship, I believe. It's a military dictatorship. I don't believe that a revolution is in the making, but it is obviously, it is in that process. What I usually see in Iran, the pattern is that usually dictatorship follows with a revolution, and revolution is, ends in a chaos, and then chaos ends with dictatorship. My hope is that this time the situation is different, that the Iranian people gain democracy. But the problem here is this: I don't believe that the problem in Iran is democracy or dictatorship. The problem is secularism versus religion. In fact, what we have missed in here and throughout this analysis in this country is that we just completely forgot that country it has to be secular, that within a religious government or religious system, democracy has no meaning. So the same people who are opposing Ahmadinejad or Khamenei were in power for years, and I don't believe that they are going to go back to democracy as we understand it here.
Well, let me ask you about Professor. Let me ask you about the video that we saw yesterday, and I'll bring Reza back in as well. This was a significant video of a protest being disrupted by, what, thugs, basically.
Well, this wasn't just a protest. This was Mohammad Khatami, the former 2-time president of the Islamic Republic, delivering a speech. In the middle of the speech, you have what appears to be members of the Basij barging in, and chaos ensues. And Mr. Amirahmadi, I want to ask you this. I want you to tell us what's going through the minds of Iran's hardline leaders right now. There has to be a question on their mind. Do you go after these opposition figures like Mohammad Khatami, Mehdi Karoubi, Mir Hussein Mousavi? Do you arrest them, or do you stand pat? What's going through the minds of the hardline leaders right now at this moment?
Yeah, the hardline leader at this point, or until now, had not taken this movement seriously, and they basically thought this was a family feud. After all, Mousavi, Khatami, Karoubi are members of the same family that made the revolution and sustained this revolution for 30 years. And whatever that has happened over the last 30 years, all of them, less or more, are responsible. So in the beginning, it was a family feud, a factional conflict. But increasingly, they are understanding that the factional conflict is spreading into the society, spilling over into the larger community of the Iranians, and that this fight is not anymore within the religious community, but actually the secular forces, the modern middle class, the intellectuals, the people who really are for better management, professionalism, are in the process and trying to make it.